Good morning. Okay, so just a quick background on about myself. So I'm Spark Perreras. I used to work from one of the top bank in the Philippines. And my flagship project there is the EMV migration for MasterCard, Visa, and American Express. We spent about half a billion peso that particular project. So I'm a computer engineer by profession, so I'm a technical guy. And in 2015, after the successful migration of the entire credit card portfolio, ATMs and POS machines of this specific bank, that was the time I was being headhunted locally and internationally. So I seek for an advice from one of my mentors who happens to be one of the vice presidents of that bank. So I asked him, hey, I'm being headhunted now, okay? And there was one offer in Dubai particularly that the offer is so generous. So I seek for an advice, what do you think should I do? So he got basically three items that he told me. Well, first, you're a married man, you have a son, and you're going to uproot, okay? You're going to uproot your family. So the culture in the Middle East would be, it will take some time. So are you open or are you okay to uproot your family? Second, you'll be part of the 6,000 overseas Filipino workers. Okay, we are literally having a brain drain in the Philippines. Okay, and then third, you know what? You're highly skilled with your technical skills, know-how. Your name is Spark. Why don't you set up your own IT company and become a Tony Starks of the Philippines? So basically, I turned down. So after a month, I tendered my resignation and I followed the advice of my mentor. So my first venture, that was in 2015, it was an IT company focusing on helping the banks migrating their EMV chip card. So, and then, of course, transitioning from a typical employee mindset to an entrepreneur takes time. Takes time. Okay. So basically, after a few months, we were running out of cash. We were, fortunately for us, we were acquired by a venture capitalist firm based in Japan. So that was my first venture. So get some cash, exited from that round. And then we set up another company which is focusing on mobile application development. On that second venture, basically I burned all my savings. I pawned my car, I sold my properties just to keep the company afloat. So I was negative when I left the second company. So of course, basically moneyless, penniless, I can easily go back to the corporate world. As a matter of fact, I'm still being offered, a job, especially in the banking industry. But I received a call from one of my good friends, who happens to be one of the core programmer of Friendster back then. Who knows Friendster here? Before Facebook, okay? So, and because he has this idea for payments, and one of the top guys that he knows in the fintech industry is basically me in his own circle. So that was the time I received a call, and basically the rest is history. We're now doing PearlPay. So now next slide, that's just my brief background. Okay, so you want to be a founder, the trials and triumphs at launching a startup. Next, click please. Okay. So, these are the famous phases of entrepreneurs today, right? And at the heart of human intelligence is actually pattern recognition. Our speech, our language, the text character, those are all symbols that we can easily recognize as a pattern, right? So, as much as I love philosophy, I am also pragmatic. Okay, so if we're going to, there's one common denominator among these successful entrepreneurs. Okay, and that is basically all of their companies, all of their vision has a purpose. Okay, so for me, the number one thing to do is to write down the purpose of the company. And for PearlPay, basically is making financial services universally accessible. And there are research study shows, right? There are 3 levels of happiness. Okay, number 1 is self-pleasure, which is temporary. Second, the second level is having a great relationships with your friends and families. And the third level is the highest level form of happiness, which is having a purpose in life. Okay? So, and these successful entrepreneurs, they have this massive transformative purpose. So next slide. All right, so this is Professor Muhammad Yunus, and basically the father of microfinance industry. So he helped a lot of unbanked and he's lending money to the poor people. And this, one thing that I learned from him is that this is the difference between a businessman and an entrepreneur. Okay? A businessman will set the goals based on profits, so profit driven. Okay? Now, an entrepreneur is basically to serve a need in the market. Okay? To serve a need in the market, and then the consequence of doing it is to generate revenue. Okay? So next slide. All right, so basically that was my formative years, right? As an employee. Now, I started to become an entrepreneur back in 2015, so this is now my 4th year, and my 3rd venture in total. So, it's very difficult because three months ago, okay, I was working on a Sunday, as usual. I was preparing for the strategy to raise capital in Hong Kong. And then out of a sudden, I received a call from one of our existing angel investors. His background is basically traditional brick and mortar. Okay, so that, oh, by the way, we have spoken to more than 200 investors, then only 3 invested in our company. Okay, so 3 angel investors. Now, this one angel investor wants me, basically a cutthroat, profit-driven thinker. So when are we going to generate revenue? We just started, okay, last year May. Okay, starting last year May, and I told him we need to at least reach the 3-year mark before we can, generate to make it sustainable. Okay, you know what? As the CEO of the company, I think you should blow the whistle. Blow the whistle, stop the operations. Okay, file for bankruptcy. And for me, I was defending, justifying about the action plan. As a matter of fact, we have an action plan, which is we will execute to raise capital in Hong Kong. So, well, given that about 10-minute discussion, so he sensed that I will not blow the whistle. So, we still push through with our plan in Hong Kong. Okay, and of course, there's no guarantee that we will be able to raise the capital 3 months ago. Okay, so now fast forward. Okay, fast forward today. Okay, so we just completed our pre-series A round last week. Okay, so now we will be able to step on the full throttle. Okay, to blitz scale, not just in the Philippines, but Indonesia, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, and Japan, Singapore. Okay, so with that money that we are able to raise. Okay, now part of the 3-month roller coaster ride this past 3 months. Before that, we are able to complete the pre-series A round. We receive a generous offer, a 7-digit multimillion-dollar company valuation, and wants to acquire us 60% from one of the top fintech companies in Southeast Asia. And again, it all boils down to the purpose. When I asked the founder, so what's your plan after acquiring 60% of PearlPay? What are you going to do? Okay, and he showed me this diagram, what they were doing in Southeast Asia, but he wants exclusivity. Meaning to say, will be part of an ecosystem. So I just remember, basically a wisdom from Paul Graham of Y Combinator. Right? Basically, it reminds me of, because he asked me, can the other investor or can the other partners, can they make PearlPay a unicorn? For me, actually, my goal is not to become a unicorn. My goal is to serve a purpose to the needs of the rural banks, the unbanked and the underbanked. So basically, we are not aligned with his purpose and with our purpose. So we respectfully decline the offer. We respectfully. Unfortunately for us, we are able to secure funding with our pre-series A, and now we're now ready to blitz scale as a Philippine-based startup company. So next slide. Okay, so what to look for in a co-founder, mentor, and even early team members? Actually, very simple. Next slide. Please click. Okay, somebody that I can grow old with. Okay, that's something what I learned from my second venture, is that basically about business skills, my partner there, very, very good. But out of character, let's say there's a great factor. Okay, so from that lesson, every major decision or every decision that we make, it has to be aligned with our purpose, with our mission, with our vision, as well as eliminating the greed factor, right? If we are greedy, if we're just simply doing this out of money, perhaps we accepted already the 7-digit figure offered to us by that fintech company to acquire us. But we're not doing this for the money. We are doing this because this is our purpose, the company of purpose. So next slide. So well, basically these are just some random photos. So this is our when we transformed from a dormitory office to a real office. So this is the founding team members. Okay, as a matter of fact, the founding team members or the founders are basically the lowest salary grade, right? Because we pay for the actual team members the industry standard. So next slide. Right. So basically, these are my co-founders working on a holiday. Okay. Next slide. Okay. These are my somebody that I can grow old with. Okay. Next slide. Okay. So these are this is actual photo in one of the dormitory office that we had. So next slide. Okay. Well, here. Okay. Remember, when I got burned on my second venture, I don't have money. Okay? So when I talk to the rest of the founding team members, we don't have money, okay? But if you still believe in us, okay? If you believe in what we're doing, okay, you can contribute your time, your effort, your skills to this venture. Okay? So basically, all of us, and all of the founding team members, they don't get paid. So they just basically provide commitment, time, and effort. Next slide. Okay, so this is just one setup in our condominium for us, setting as our office. Next slide. So basically, team members are very important. Who are the founders here? Existing founders or aspiring entrepreneurs? Okay, so access to capital is very different, especially here in the Philippines. From what I have experienced, from what we have experienced, right? Talking to 200 investors, then only 3, okay, invested. Okay, so it's so difficult. It's so difficult. I have to admit, right? But it allows us. This principle we leave it to our heart. Okay, we call it the 3 R's. Okay, recall, reflect, then remodel. Okay, and then and that's how we completed the Series A, right? Listening to the critics, listening to each venture capitalist that we have spoken to, listening to our peers. Okay, with the 3 R's, we are able to refine day in, day out. Okay, our business model. Okay, so yeah. basically, I'm not going to push through it because these are just basically photos, right? But those are the most access to capital. Okay, it takes a lot of time. Okay. When I asked, by the way, one of the angel investors, I asked, why did you invest? I mean, we don't have the product yet. We have the business plan, but we haven't launched yet. So I asked him, you know what? I asked your co-founders about how you work. Okay, and again, at the heart of human intelligence is actually pattern recognition. So I asked, what time do you wake up? What do you do in your waking hours? And based on all of your co-founders, okay, you wake up 4:30 a.m. every day, okay, then you will work basically just PearlPay. And before you go to sleep at night, you're still working on PearlPay. What does it mean? It means there's laser focus on what we do. And yes, at day one, there are a lot of unknowns, variables, okay, that we have to figure it out. Okay? But that's the key, focus. Okay? Because, it's only just a matter of time. We'll be able to figure it out. Okay? And true enough, okay, we completed our pre-series A, 24 months of runway, and then on the 18-month period, we expect to run another Series A round. Okay? So once again, my name is Spark Perreras. Okay, thank you so much.